Welcome to the channel for the first time viewers. Welcome back from my existing subscribers. Today, I'm just going to talk to you about, standing by your decision, doing a little bit of research, and not letting others bully you in your hardware choices. So with that, I have 4 bullet points that I really wanted to focus on and share with you all. So let's start with the first one. So build up your understanding of the products by doing your own research. And ways you could do that is you can use the tools like Tech Power Up to find out the difference between card A and card B. So you can do that just simply by, let's say you're debating between 4070 Ti Strix and a gaming OC, from Gigabyte 4070 Ti as well. A site like Tech Power Up, if you look up the VBIOS, which I'm going to try to get you all some content, not some content, but some B-roll footage of going through and just pulling up how to find said information, right? So that way you can get a fair comparison, because sometimes you'll see a card for $700 and you'll see a card for $650. Really, what's the difference other than the cooler? It could be something as small as the power limit is higher, which will, in power limited situations, allow you to get rid of that bottleneck at least a little bit. So we're going to take a look at that on the side. But realistically, you want to look at all of the different options available to you, and when you're researching, you want to try to find information that will disprove your stance. So if you feel like the 7800X3D is the best card, you want to look for information that's going to say, or not the best card, but the best CPU for Warzone. You want to look at some information that's going to say that it's not. Or you can search something like 7800X3D problems with Warzone. That way you have a fair analysis and you can see both the good and the bad versus going into echo chambers, which is actually kind of easy to do. Right, you can end up looking at specifically only good videos or only favorable reviews or whatever the case may be. So you definitely want to make sure you have a balanced diet when it comes to how you're looking up these parts, right? Because again, it's easy to fall into the echo chambers. Next, the second bullet point is going to be that people's opinions should not be of your concern. Now that's different than when you're looking for those reviews. What I really mean by that is once you've made a decision on a product, let's say you've decided after watching tons of videos, reading about it, you've decided that the 7900 XTX is the best GPU for you because you play a lot of Warzone, you don't care about ray tracing too much, and you don't stream, you don't create content. So you just want a game, and that's the one that boiled down to being the best choice for you. If the card works fine and you don't have issues with it, don't worry about what other people say. Your experience has been great, and as long as you're enjoying your product and your purchase, that should be all that matters. So you should have kind of like a F what everybody else thinks attitude, just specifically when it comes to your experience. It doesn't mean that you go and start preaching to others that your perspective is the only perspective, it's the only correct way to do things, because that's what a lot of other people do, right? They'll go into the comments, they'll go into the servers, the forums, and they'll start preaching their biases to other people. And that really doesn't help anybody else out. It's just kind of, okay, so you prefer X product, whether it's Intel, whether it's NVIDIA, whether it's AMD. You just see the fanboys in there, and they're just going to really be hyper-focused on one specific product and bashing the other product because for whatever reason, they've chosen teams. The other day I had a conversation on Instagram. Somebody was asking me, are you team red or team green? I was like, I'm team me. So like, if Intel's, slides in there with an ARC series, or I think it's supposed to be, give me a second to think. Something Battle Mage. Yeah, Battle Mage is supposed to be the next lineup of GPUs. But if that comes out and is better than everything else, I'm rocking one of those, right? As long as what I need, which is content creation, the very, very occasional stream, really content creation and gaming works completely fine, and recording directly on the same system, I'm happy, right? So I'm super easy to appease. But when one of those components doesn't really work, that doesn't really work for me. Third bullet point is to buy from reputable sources. What I mean by that is return periods, right? You can do all the research you want and still make the wrong choice. As far as, let's say you thought, let's give an example. AV1 encoding is huge now. But let's say you did all the research, it looked like AV1 was going to be fantastic for you, and then you get to streaming, your stream does not look good, right? Now you need to switch over to NVIDIA, or you need to go to another solution, well, at that point, where you bought your product from is going to make a big difference. So if you bought it from something like a Best Buy or Amazon or a Newegg that does have, healthy return periods, then you're good. You can make that mistake. But if you buy from, let's say, a smaller boutique seller that can't afford to take returns, so they're going to charge you a restock fee, or they're going to deny your return, then that could be a problem. I know some places you don't have access to those type of boutiques or those type of PC part shops that would allow you to perform a return. So that just is what it is. If you can't, then you can't, right? Best is going to be try to sell it all secondhand. But for those of us that do have some choices, try to get it from the places that will allow for a return. Should anything go wrong or you want to get something different, it's not to say that the smaller shops, are automatically going to charge you restocks or whatever the case may be. But a lot of times they tell you there is going to be a restock fee, and they tell you again. And then as soon as you buy, if you end up not liking it, you paid $1,000 and now there's a 10% restock fee, you lose $100 on that return. So now you have $900 to go buy either a different model or a different product altogether. So that's bullet number 3. Part of bullet number 3, but not specifically. It should be more on the research side of things, is stay away from user bench. User bench in the tech space or in the hardware space, everybody knows that it isn't a good resource. They hate AMD. And hate might be a strong word, but if you go through their articles and their reviews, they've never looked at AMD with any kind of favor, period, even when it's a better product, right? So I remember when the 12900K would lose to the 5800X 3D sometimes, but 12900K was like number 3 as far as fastest CPUs, and the 5800X 3D was like number 20 something, which is crazy, like 20 something. But this number 3 or number 2 loses sometimes. I think it was like the 12900KS was the only thing above it, and the KF. But you get my point. So that the reason I bring that up is because their SEO optimization is amazing. So you'll see, let's say you do 4090 versus 7900 XTX, you're going to find a YouTube video, and usually the first link that you see is going to be from them. So with that, just be mindful. User bench is the name of the site. It's kind of a running joke where everybody knows that they hate AMD, and they pretty much openly hate them now. So just be mindful of that. The last bullet point is going to be more so on the mindset side of things. When you look at a product, if you're looking for something wrong with it or a reason to hate it, you'll find that reason, right? You'll find it. And the best example I'll give you is like, if I wanted to hate NVIDIA right now, it would be very easy for me because this new launch for Madden, I can't take screenshots. So I'm trying to do the Madden, Are They Madden Good series. And I want to take a screenshot of the stats from the actual player rosters page or whatever, right? But I can't on the NVIDIA cards. I have to use the Windows screenshot tool in order to do that. But on the AMD side, I can record it I can take a screenshot, no issues, and it saves it right away. So that's just like one small thing. But that could be something that for me, it's like, hey, okay, this card is trash, right? I could just literally use that as my reason for hating it. Although in the grand scheme of things, it's fairly minor. There are some things that are valid. So with AMD, you can just you can rest assured that the cards are going to come out. They're going to be slightly overpriced, and then as time goes on, the price is going to drop a little bit, and the drivers are going to become more stable as time goes on. NVIDIA has had just a rocky go this generation, but typically the creation suite is much better on the NVIDIA side of things. I know ROCm is supposed to release later this year, so in a few months here, and it's going to allow essentially AMD to use CUDA acceleration, which is one of the advantages that the NVIDIA cards have right now. So that's going to kind of level the playing field a little bit for those applications that do use CUDA acceleration. AMD will now be able to take advantage of those processes. So that's going to be interesting to see for the creativity side of things. For the gaming side of things, for me, at least in my experience, if you don't care about ray tracing, typically AMD is going to be a better value choice. So for instance, the 7900 XT is like $750 sometimes, $800 usually. and that is a phenomenal card if you're just trying to build a gaming system, and you don't care about recording, you don't care about streaming, you just want really fast FPS. So again, it just all comes down to the research that you do. And let's do a real quick recap. So first bullet I talked about was doing your own research, learning about the products, and using some of the tools so you can start to compare, contrast, along with some things like videos, right? Watching the videos so you can see, okay, this card does this better, or this card has coil wine, which is random, by the way, or this card does not cool very well. You can start to build your opinion that way. Then we talked about the opinion of others in the forums, right? So don't let somebody discourage you, bully you into returning a product or feeling bad about your purchase. If you researched it and it's working out for you, then it's a great purchase, right? That just is what it is. If you're happy with the product and the price doesn't bother you, doesn't matter what anybody else has to say, you should just tune them out. Fuck them. Number 3, you should buy from reputable sources, places where you have return periods. That way, if you're not happy with a product or something's wrong with it, or you uncover something catastrophic, like, oh shit, I can't edit videos, which would have been, I'll give you a backstory here before I go to the last bullet. When I got the 6950 XT, I edit a ton of videos. So to give you perspective, in 2021, aside from social media, I did about 500 to 700 videos that I edited, right? And on the 6950 XT, the colors were inverted. So it was insane. So if you ever look at your accessibility settings and you invert the colors, all of my videos were rendering inverted, even though in the timeline they were fine. They fixed that in a August update or a September update, but for like 2 months I had to roll back the drivers to the May update. So things like that you might potentially uncover. Having a good return period is going to help you out a lot. And then the last bullet point was just to essentially have an open mindset when you're adopting new products, especially in the beginning. For me, my big issue, which was a deal breaker, was that the recording has to work, and the games, if they crash, that's whatever, right? As long as I can get a benchmark in, I can wait for drivers to stabilize, but the recording has to work. So when Radeon Relive in the beginning was not working at all, it was doing like 40 FPS, 46 FPS, 52 FPS, just broken FPS that you couldn't use the content afterwards. That for me was a deal breaker because I use it all the time. I single PC record. I have a capture card, but it's for my PS5. I'm not trying to play at 144 FPS on a 270 hertz monitor. I can see the difference, and for like the first hour, it just feels like it's stuttering. So again, for me, that was a deal breaker. So I had to return those cards, and eventually, I would say April broke my Warzone experience on AMD, but after April was the May drivers when I got the Tai Chi, and it was, so chef's kiss on that. That's all I wanted to share with you all. Another side note, this is my 3rd take on this video. First take, the mic here, I had it connected to my chain, and all you heard was all kinds of rumbling. Second take, mic was completely off, so it didn't even record, bro. But yeah, hopefully this helps you all out. Once you get something, if you did your research, you did your due diligence, and you're happy with it, go enjoy the product. Don't worry, don't focus on what anybody else has to say about it. Just enjoy your product. That's it. You're done. You won. You're out of the rat race. All right, I'll catch you on the flip. Be easy.